Are you ready for annihilation?
Yes.
This is TeaDB episode 279, and we're going to finish our session today, which is 3 weeks of time for you because of the power of editing and releasing stuff slowly. We're going to finish off with a Pu'erh. So,
Yes.
James, will you please explain
Yes.
what we got here?
So this is the Fangmingyuan 2008. I think that this is the Nannuo tea. That's the area where it's grown from. This tea was actually, it's kind of interesting, was featured by a couple of the early bloggers.
Cool.
So, like, as long as maybe even 10 years ago, but at least 7 or 8 years ago. So they went to her shop in Beijing, and they tried her teas, her being the owner of the shop, and so this tea, to my knowledge, has been Beijing stored for 10 years, and then it was sent to me by a guy named Tiago, who is based out in the UK, and has started to source some Pu'erh teas. So, curious to try it. Beijing, of course, is going to be colder and drier than a place like Hong Kong, or probably even Kunming. And it definitely still smells like it's got some greenness to it.
Yeah.
It's kind of a floral nose.
It has some sweet smells in there too, though.
It does, yeah.
So let's give it a shot. It looks pretty green as well. I broke up the leaves a fair amount, so it should just start rolling pretty quick here. So I'm not going to hang out for it too long. And my rinse was actually a little bit darker than this first steeping.
It was, yeah.
Just because of time. So just wanted to let the first rinse really hang out and open the leaves up. Fair amount here, a lot of fairly homogeneous. Well, there's some variety in the oxidation levels of the leaves, but yeah, I think it has so it smells strong and young, but it does have a sweet aroma to it.
Sort of a fruity, floral thing coming off of it.
I'm not used to such a big guy one. I need to actually use less.
Yeah, you could dump off some of that. And the liqueur, for the first steep at least, is pretty light. It looks like a sort of a pale yellow.
Yeah.
So we'll probably expect that to get a little bit darker as we feel out the tea a little bit more.
Yeah, and I'm kind of blindly moving on to the second steeping here without tasting the first one.
Right.
Just to let it cool off a little bit. So that, might be slightly dangerous, but don't want to hang out just a little bit longer in the first steeping. And
yeah, that's a little bit darker.
yeah. That's kind of like a
yellow, darker yellow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like a peachy sort of.
Peachy.
Definitely has some young and medicinal smells to it, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So let's give it a shot.
Cool. Cheers.
Cheers, everybody.
Not rough at all, actually.
Yeah.
Definitely taste some of the grassy floralness. I see you struggling there with your very full cup.
Yeah. It is surprisingly light and kind of sweet. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Not. This is not the Pu'erh that's biting back. At least not immediately.
Right.
A little bit light.
Yeah, I think it's hard to judge immediately. So we're going to move on, and we'll see how these fare. It could be the case that these are both really light, and this tea just needs a heavy hand, although I'm expecting this to be a little bit more flavorful.
Right. Yeah, this looks like it's a little bit stronger. There's an aftertaste still, so it's not like this is drinking water.
No, gosh, no, but I think it'll get stronger.
Oh, yeah.
And I might have used not enough leaf, although...
No, it looks
I don't know. I think it's
like
going to open
enough,
up a fair amount, too, here.
Yeah.
So,
cheers.
Cheers.
Getting sort of like brown sugar and floral notes off of this.
Yeah, I mean, definitely has the young Pu'erh sort of kick to it. Not in, tremendous force, but still definitely there.
Right.
And then, I think brown sugar is actually a pretty good
Yeah.
description.
So the storage is pretty clearly dry, and I think a lot of people that like dry storage like to say that it maintains a lot of the original character of the tea. You can definitely see that in this tea. Like this does taste like it's aged a bit, but it's sort of easy to see how it would have tasted 5-10 years ago.
And how old is this tea? 10 years old?
10 years.
Yeah.
So I would have guessed
Absolutely.
younger if I didn't know better.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, in the sense that it still resembles a lot of the young Pu'erh flavors going on, but the intensity of those flavors has mellowed out a fair amount too. Right. I think it's also kind of reflected in the liqueur. I think it's one of the coolest things about Pu'erh tea for me is that the liqueur is a testament, or maybe the best barometer measure of the age of the tea. Or at least
it's a pretty good one.
It can be.
The other way I like to do it is really after those leaves have brewed out. It gives you a pretty good idea of the storage. So sometimes the leaves will be a little darker, but they'll end up looking green after you're done brewing. So it indicates it's probably either young or drier stored. Right. But if they're like pitch black, then you know something's up.
Yeah,
tea has been stored very humanly at some point. Yeah.
And just to push this tea on the third steeping, which is kind of dangerous, we're gonna. I'll let that hang out for a while there. So let's see. I mean, this tea could be one of those teas that just needs a lot of heat. And using a Gaiwan was the wrong choice. We'll find out. Look at the yellow there. So,
yeah, I mean, Gaiwan's certainly hot enough, so. Yeah.
And with such a large Gaiwan, we are going to be feeling this. Okay. Cheers, y'all.
Cheers.
It's strong, but it's still sweet.
Oh, yeah.
It's good.
Yeah, a little more bitterness to that, but I feel like that's probably what you'd want to get out of
absolutely.
this brew.
It does have a spiciness to it. It's hard for me to make sure I'm not just drinking the flavors from our last session, which was a lap song, which was also spicy.
Right.
But I think it does have a character of some, a little bit of sort of an earthy spiciness to it. Nothing too strong. It's not overpowering anything. It's kind of a subtle feature.
So
tasty.
How would a tea like this do for the mom test?
I don't think so. I don't know. Not.
It's a little too.
It's just a little
weird.
bit too much.
Yeah. Too raw Pu'erh.
Yeah, exactly. It has two similar those young flavors. I think the beauty of it is that it holds those flavors and still is sweet, which depending on what you've been drinking might be a little bit harder to come by, especially something that's old like this. So I think it's unique in that way, but it wouldn't appeal to. I don't think it would appeal to the average drinker.
That's fair. Yeah.
So I don't know. It's hard. The category is tough to appeal to the average drinker, though.
Yeah. You kind of got to be a little bit of a weirdo to be really into raw Pu'erh.
It has a wonderful sweetness. I mean, it's
just not upfront. It's like it's bitter and then it's sweet.
Yeah. It's good.
It's an interesting brew, this one. Almost a little perfumey.
Yeah, I think it treads manages the line of sweetness and bitterness well. I think I would not. I'm going to heat the water up and I'm going to brew for a shorter amount of time, this time by a lot.
Yeah.
And we'll just see how it affects it too. It's leaving a residual bitterness and strength now.
Yeah. And for you, when could you brew this tea? I don't know, because the first two steepings were pretty light and approachable. Mm-hmm. Now it's getting strong, so I don't know. Theoretically, you could brew it all just like those first two if you really didn't like the bitterness of it.
You could try to do some weird stuff like take out half of the tea leaves after you brewed the first couple of steepings and then just give it some longer time and see how that goes. There's plenty of stuff that I've done that ends up being sort of fruitful.
Yeah.
Or if you just add too much tea leaves, period, then you can kind of rescue your session by just pulling some leaves out, really.
But I do think that for most people after sort of a raw Pu'erh sort of like that sort of experience of experiencing the strength of it, the bitterness and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a potent tea.
Yeah, I'm struggling to think if this would be a good tea to finish a session on, or if it'd still be possible to taste other teas after having something like this. I'm not totally sure.
I think you could have other stuff after this.
Okay. So it's not like smoky. It's gonna make your whole mouth smoky.
I don't think so. Like it has a singular, young Pu'erh flavors to it. I think if you have another tea that is older, it will be different flavored enough. Or something that maybe not older would be the right, biologically older, so stored in Hong Kong or something, Thailand, something a little bit wetter, obviously. They'll just make the tea more red and aged.
Yeah.
So, and that's not to say this is bad or anything like that. This is good. It just is a different experience in the cup. So, let's give it a shot. This should be kind of hot. Cheers.
Cheers.
This one's good. Sweet. Strong enough. It's not the most viscous tea.
No.
Yeah. It's nice. It's good. What was the sort of, was there a consensus on this tea from the other bloggers out there?
I think people generally liked it. I mean, they drank this tea as a much younger tea than we're drinking it now. Like, I don't know when the last review is but I think it was probably like 7 years ago. So they probably drank it when it was had a lot more of those young Pu'erh notes, probably more floral. We're drinking it now where some of those notes have aged off probably.
Definitely.
But I don't know. I haven't reviewed them intensely, but I know that they like this shop, and I think they like this production too.
Yeah. Well, it's tasty, and it's kind of unique because again, it's 10 years old, but it has a lot of elements that are fresh still.
Right.
And then some of those elements have sort of aged out a little bit too. It's just kind of an interesting. I think this is a solid tea. Is this possible to pick up?
Yes, I believe Tiago over at Tea Encounter is going to be selling this. This used to sell for much less than I believe it does now.
Sure, yeah.
It's definitely possible. I think for me, this is actually the first tea I've had stored in Beijing, actually, which is a little bit surprising. Very dry, stored overall.
Yeah. An interesting flavor profile, and it will probably change depending on how you're storing it too. So keep that in mind. Probably something to drink first thing you get when you get it, and then compare it later on.
Yeah.
Of course, people can learn more about us at TeaDB.org. If you haven't yet been to our website, every time you go there, you just get hugs. It's just so weird.
Yeah.
They're just that you just get hugs, and it makes your day better. So you should go to our website.
Yeah, that's definitely what we do.
Oh man, I'm not good at marketing. My straight face game is absolutely shit.
I'm full of shit too. So.
Anyway, do subscribe to the YouTube channel and click on the bell icon so that you get notifications when we post a video. So you need more tea harassment at your workplace. Don't sue us.
Yeah.
Unless you're gonna lose.
Unless we can countersue you and take your money
totally
onto our PayPal account.
Non-existent PayPal account. Make sure to send an email there because it won't be received. And there's like we said, there's a bajillion articles.
There are
vendor guides, tea factory guides, all sorts of crazy stuff about raw pu'erh. Thanks to James. So thanks, James.
Yeah, well, we have filmed 279, so many episodes to watch out. So
we're gonna turn 300 soon.
Yeah, if you're having a lazy Friday night, just pass out, watch TeaDB for what is it now? 36 hours or something like that.
Hours.
Yeah, get a pizza, brew some gong fu tea.
Just go until you can't go anymore, and then keep going. See you guys next time. Cheers.